Hey, we are headed out to a black coloured snake that the Member Republic has had under a box since last night. Late last night, their cat has grabbed the snake, brought it inside. The Member Republic's freaked out, chucked the box on top, and fair enough, they're too scared or worried to look if it's still alive or what's going on underneath. We'll head out there. Look, that area could be a golden crown, could be a small-eyed, could just be a red belly. It might not even be black. We'll find out when we get there. Either way, if it's still alive, it's been in a cat's mouth. The cat's mouth, the bacteria is just terrible for our native wildlife. They can't cope with it. So hopefully it is still alive. First thing to do to be grab him, bag him up, take him out to North Richmond, get some antibiotics in for him for a couple of weeks, and then because of the time of year, he'll probably be lucky or unlucky enough to spend the winter with us. Let's head out there now. You can even slide him over a bit, yeah, so he's away from everything.
Try and do that all the way out. Yeah. Is he there?
Oh, yep, he's in there.
And he's alive.
Oh, I can't see him yet, but I reckon he's a golden crown snake.
What's that? Is that deadly?
Not deadly. Show him to the camera.
Oh.
So, not deadly, but they are venomous. Golden crowns, they're a beautiful snake. You can see the crown on the top of his head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it. Oh, I'm so glad
Yeah.
he's all right.
Managed to get into the vet. We got our antibiotics. Now this stuff is our gold. This stuff is so important to our native animals. The damage cats are doing on our native wildlife. They'll grab snakes, lizards, possums, birds, and the bacteria that they hold in their mouth is just detrimental. Not only is it in their mouth because they groom themselves so often, it's in their claws. Even if they're just playing with a little baby snake, for example, if those claws break the skin, that bacteria is going into the skin. Now this stuff is amazing. Sometimes it just can't fight the bacteria from these cats. I've had things in care which they seem like they're getting better. They're on antibiotics, but still just the strength of the cat bacteria is just too much for the snake. We'll have our little golden crown on this guy for 2 weeks or so. The weather's looking okay, and I mean, it's only 2 weeks in care. We should be able to get him back out. Let's have a closer look at him now. So here he is. Absolutely gorgeous little species these are. You can see why they're obviously called a golden crown snake. They got that crown, which is golden, on the top of their head. And you can see you get calls for them as red bellies, as they got that orange. It's actually a beautiful colour, that orange tinge on their belly. You won't be able to see on the GoPro. You can see the bites from the cat just on his back here, which I'll get a clip of on my phone. That's actually the other problem with these cat bites. The cat's teeth, they're so fine. People say, oh no, my cat didn't break the skin. They'll bring in a feather-tailed glider, these tiny little possums we have in Australia. They'll say, oh no, the cat didn't bite it. Unfortunately, you can't even see, and it's not until it's too late that you actually can see that the animal was bitten by the cat and the bacteria takes over and ends up winning the fight. These are a mildly venomous species. They're not really inclined to bite. I mean, is any snake really inclined to bite? They bite for food and protection, and as long as I'm not posing a threat. I don't even know if this little guy could wrap his little mouth around me. They're very placid little species, a beautiful snake. Now we'll have a look at where the bite mark, oh there's the bite area there. So you can see right in the middle of the frame, there and there, 2 little puncture marks. That's all you can see from where he's being bitten by the cat. So as you can see from that footage, if that bite was under a small mammal, a small antechinus, a small pygmy possum, a glider, even a larger possum, you're not going to see it under the fur. The next step for this little fella is to make him feel at home. We'll set him up a little enclosure. I think we can put this guy inside. I don't see him as a threat to myself or my other pets. He's super docile. Why don't I show you the process? We'll set him up a little enclosure inside and he can settle in for a couple of weeks. So this here is what we're working with for the little fella. A 3-foot enclosure. Yeah, this is going to be perfect for this little fella. We've got a 60-watt halogen for him. Heat him up if he needs it. To be honest, he'll probably just be hiding under the bark, under the leaf litter most of the time. And then I've just got an LED shoved up the top for visible light. Start off, we'll go get some substrate. But normally if I've got an animal that's cut open, well always if I've got an animal that's cut open or carrying a big injury or something where I need to see fecals, I'll put in puppy pads so we can make sure he's not still bleeding. We can make sure no foreign objects go in the wound, anything like that. But this guy's got those tiny little punctures and I want to put him in sort of, I wouldn't call it naturalistic, but something more natural so he's not stressed out, feels like he's still at home in his short stay, or hopefully short stays. I got some Yuki mulch, we'll chuck that in. Let's get into it. Hides here which I've already cleaned up with F10. They're way too big for this little guy, but again he can bury into that substrate, into that Yuki mulch. He can get as tight as he wants to. So I've got 2 of these hides. One's a bit tighter. It's a fake rock that I cut a hole in. We'll give him those 2 hides, then we'll grab some leaf litter, some fresh gum leaves, and we'll chuck that in. And I mean, looks pretty accommodating for 2 weeks, don't you think? I'd spend 2 weeks in there. What do you reckon, Sonic? I don't know if he would. Would you, little man? So we'll chuck this big fella under... What if I do this? Can you see better like that? So we'll chuck that big fella under our basking lamp. So if he does want to get some extra heat, he can go up, curl up on top of that. Got this cool fake rock, which I've cut a hole in so he can get in nice and tight under there. Make himself a little burrow. Of course, a water bowl. That's simple, but it doesn't need much more. It's a temporary setup. And hopefully this is a bit more accommodating than puppy pads. We'll go outside, we'll get some gum leaves, chuck that in, and we'll get him back in. Here's some I prepared earlier. I put this here, I was gonna chuck it in all my pet enclosures as well. Chuck it in the aviaries and whatnot. We're a bit dead on top. We'll flip him over. Yeah. Not for you. We'll chuck all this in. Gives him even more stuff to hide under. He's only a small snake, he'll be able to climb on that. Be like a massive tree for him. Doesn't need to look special, it's for the snake, it's not for me, just chuck it in. He can hide under it, climb on it. Give him something to do for a couple of weeks. There we go. Doesn't look too bad if I say so myself. Got his basking platform, hide under there, and obviously hide under all this, make burrows under this. Another little hide, water bowl. I can't see he's going to complain with that. And there he is, ready for his 2-week holiday, other than an antibiotic jabbing every 3 days. But other than that, it should be pretty sweet for him. Just outside and came back in to find him exploring again. Now they are a nocturnal species. They're more inclined to be out at night. I'll cover those leaves back over him and I'll leave him to get settled in. I don't want to stress him out too much. He's been through enough, as you can imagine. If he's out and active tonight, I'll try to get another clip of him and hopefully show you guys a bit more. That's it for now. Like I said, we'd have a check on him tonight. I think he is out and about. We'll see if we can spot him. And there he is. So he's obviously feeling somewhat comfortable in there. He's happy, he's out exploring. He's been travelling all around actually. I've seen him go through the hides, out underneath, dig a hole under this one, have a drink. Happy and healthy little guy. Don't want to bug him too much, especially with the lights. We'll leave him be. It is time for some injections for our little golden crown. So we just got to try and find him. He was out earlier. You see, he digs these little tunnels, probably under here. Let's see. Nope. Under this one. Is he there? Yeah, there he is. Come on, little fella. He's been super active in here. He's been digging, he's making his own little tunnels. Each time I check on him, he's in a new spot. I've caught him having drinks. Now it's time for his needle. Here is our golden crown, and here is our needle. So we're going to inject our antibiotics. You can see it's a tiny little bit. But keep in mind, neither Kayla or myself are vets. This is just what we've been shown, what we've been told to do. Normally what we do, if we've got a really venomous snake like an eastern brown or a red belly, we'll tube him. I can hold the head and the body and we can inject him, which you may or may not have seen in another video. But this guy's pretty cool. I'll just hang on to him, keep him from wiggling, and while I'm doing that, Kayla can do the injection. And using 4 sets of hands makes it a lot safer. And easy as that. So as you'll see, she put it in, she drew it back, make sure we weren't pulling out any blood, and in goes the antibiotics. And that is actually this guy's last dose. I just kept forgetting to film it. If we get some good weather over the next couple of days, we'll be able to run this guy back home and get him back out in the wild. And that way he doesn't have to spend the winter with us. He's only been with us for 2 weeks, so the weather hasn't changed much at all. So, gonna have a happy little fella. This is the park that this guy was pinched out of by a cat. There's not really much of a trail, but we're gonna head down anyway. Try and get back behind the property so he's in his little piece of habitat where he originally came from. So he's nice at home. We're going for a walk. Back out here to Macquarie Park. As you can see, it's not night time yet, but it's about 5:30. The sun's going down, and these are a nocturnal species, so this is when this guy will be active. We'll be able to set him free. He might not like exactly where we're putting him. He can go look for wherever he wants to bunker down. He can spend the night foraging. He might be hungry, but we'll leave that choice up to him. We found this fallen log here, which is perfect. There's going to be lots of little holes, lots of little tunnels for him to travel down. As I've said before, these guys are skink specialists. The skinks are going to be hiding in there, so he's really going to have free range, and hopefully no more bloody cats come in and give him any grief. There is our little buddy. You can see he's more active now than he was the other day when I was filming, because it is night time. Every time I've checked on this guy in the enclosure, he's super active. Actually, when I was trying to grab him out just then, I thought he'd escape because he'd dug himself in, he'd buried himself in a little hole, and I thought he was gone. But they are honestly the coolest little species. This guy's definitely one of the lucky ones. Not many of them are lucky when they have been bitten by the cat. He's extremely lucky that we're able to get our hands on him, get him that couple weeks of antibiotics. Otherwise, to be honest, he'd have absolutely zero chance with the bacteria of a cat bite. He would have absolutely no hope. But we'll stop bugging him, we'll send him on our way. Don't come back to me. How good is that? It just literally disappeared into the hole. They're such an interesting little species, the way they just live in these little bits of nature that are still scattered around the Sydney suburbs. But you got apartments and townhouses just here. The main motorway running through Sydney's right there, and they just managed to live in these little corridors of what we've left them, which isn't much. Yeah, they seem to get away with it. Head on our way back out. Reese's leading the way. And we made it back out. Another successful rescue.